Hello, everybody. Bit of an impromptu stream today about our favourite sex. I always find it weird to say our favourite sex offender. What a strange. I don't think I'll ever quite grasp that. It's a bit like saying our favourite genocidal maniac. It's like.
Favorite cannibal.
Yeah.
Well, everyone's got a favourite serial killer.
Yeah, but I think I'd said like once I was having a tattoo done and the guy in the tattoo shop, who wasn't tattooing me, thankfully, had a tattoo of Ted Bundy on his foot.
Why?
And I thought, well, exactly. I was like, hang on a minute. This guy killed women. It's like, you can be fascinated by him, but don't kind of deify him. It's like, what would you do? Yeah. Fucking worship to the fucker.
Yeah, that's like the incels. They worship Elliot Rodger, don't they?
Oh, do they?
Yeah. That's true. He seems to be their messiah of some sort.
Yeah.
What a strange thing that is. Anyway, that's kind of Base Shaman's territory. That he does some good stuff on that. But just to say hello, hi the chat, everybody. This is kind of like I said, a bit of a random stream. With me, as always, is Shin's Koala. Hello, sir.
Hello.
And Adam's joined us today. I've actually managed to bribe him away from playing FIFA and threatened him with some kind of external situation.
Oh, okay.
What was you gonna say?
You said I threatened him with some kind of external hard drive. I thought you were.
I suppose I could hit you on the head with it really hard, but in order for me to do that, I'd have to travel quite away, and I can't be asked.
Yeah, and if anyone's going to bribe anyone about an external hard drive, it'd be me bribing you.
Okie dokie.
Pay up, Andrew. Pay up.
Hi, Nick. Hi, Peter. Lily is in the chat. Kennedy. Hello, everybody. We were just going to sort of talk about, strangely enough, Lorne, mainly. Hence the name of the stream. We have a new date, which I think is available online anyway. So his hearing is scheduled now for the 1st of October, isn't it, Shin?
Yeah, that's what apparently the docket says, and it's probably going to go too that day.
Yeah, and the judge told him to go and fuck himself when he tried to get out early, and there was a part of him that speaking of Lorne, Tiff is in the chat. Lorne's sort of better half, inadvertent better half, not as far as he's concerned. He's still holding on to that fire, God bless him. He's not letting go.
There's something there.
Oh, well, in Lorne's heart there's something there, but in Lorne's heart there's something still there for Kayla, so that would be. We even talked about that. Let's put aside my moral reservations about the trolling and whatnot. Is how funny it would be if I could put aside any kind of issues with regard to the right and wrongs of it. I would say, let's convince Lorne that Kayla was real all along and it was a genuine NBC conspiracy to bring him down, to stop his music career because they thought he was going to be too talented to bring down, that he'd take over the entire world. So Kayla got corrupted by NBC and paid her £1 million to turn him up to the Sting House, and we'll find the girl that was actually in the picture, the real Kayla, and get her to speak to Lorne on the phone or something.
That would hit every point on his delusional checklist.
Yeah.
But can you imagine? But you know what? I think that'd actually be doable.
Yeah, you'd have to take him. Well, if it would be anybody, it would be Lorne, I guess. I can't think of anybody as gullible.
Well, who would believe that, like, Casey Moreau had the hots for him? Or another person found him on a sex offender's website and wanted to form a relationship with him? Or who could think they could sell merchandise that a sex offender makes quotes from, that are not even his quotes? That's what makes it even funnier, right? Even if it had like "oh card" on it, you could almost buy into the fact that some deranged fucker somewhere would actually pay for it. But they weren't even his quotes. Don't yell at me, I'm sensitive. He never said that. What the fuck?
Well, more to the point, I mean, if you want to talk about delusions, talk about his expectation that the community would have sympathy for him when he gave his stupid excuses.
Yeah.
How about that? I mean, that goes right to the heart of delusion, right? And then I guess he can cash in on it.
Like, just sitting there telling people that things.
Yeah,
Like-
and it's almost like one of those. Yeah, how do you feel now about that? Now, huh? Now you feel bad about yourself now that I told you what's going on, huh? I mean, like
I've observed about him a lot recently is he quite often screams worthless pieces of shit
at us.
everyone in his life. It's like he talks about his brother and sister. They're worthless pieces of shit. Like there's one point where he's talking to his mum, and he's going, "They're worthless pieces of shit."
About his siblings.
About his siblings, and it's like, well, you're shouting that at your mum about your own brother and sister, and yet you're the one on the sex offenders register.
I know.
Like,
You're ratting out your brother for drunk driving.
oh, that was mental. What is? Well, it's mental because it's so hypocritical of him.
It's unbelievable. You know, in that Lorne mother phone call, I think I've said this before. I think not only was it hilarious and just remarkably stupid, but it was extremely cruel what he said to his mother at the end of that phone call, where he tried to say, Lori and Ralph are just like Dale. And Dale, I guess, is her ex-husband. So he's trying to hit her like that. And I thought that was cruel. And of course, that's when she turned and said, I got to go.
Yeah, that wasn't very nice at all.
Yeah.
We've kind of discussed his relationship with his mum before. It is quite sort of, there's a lot of truth, because obviously your relationship with your parents and your family and is very fundamental to your character and the way you've developed, and it goes, there's a lot of psychological issues there, as we all know. Now, his relationship is with his mum. He pretends to love her so much, but yet when you get down to it, I'm sure there is an affection. I'm sure he has that very kind of basic bond that can't be broken, and I think there is that there. But on the surface of it, he doesn't really give a shit, does he? Do you know what I mean?
No.
It's all about himself. It's like his relationship with his mum is just his own ego's way of portraying to be a good person. I love my mother. My mother's great. Blah 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 blah. But he doesn't, like she said in one of the, I think it was one of the Tiffany calls where, I think she made him call his mum. Was it to try and admit to drink driving?
Yeah.
Drunk driving, yeah.
Oh, that was, it's in the dump, isn't it? It was when
Mama.
Was it when Tiffany was speaking to him and he went, I went round to Tony's and I didn't drink anything, and then she's like, don't fucking bullshit me. How much did you have?
There's something I was listening to. I can't remember from what call in the dump it is, but he goes, I took a case of water. Like, who the fuck takes a case of water to someone's house? Like, obviously you're lying.
No,
you don't. Sorry, go on. You explain, Shin. Adam's been out of the loop a little bit.
No, Adam. He worked for a trucking company that apparently transported bottled water, and they had apparently pallets of them available for all the employees to take by the case. And
okay.
But so Lorne would have the ability to be charitable in that sense, but more importantly, he got really entrepreneurial and decided that he was going to empty the water bottles and redeem the bottles for 5 cents.
I did hear about that. But on the call I was referring to, though, he does say I took a case of water, and then later on it turns out he took an 18-pack.
That's right.
Yeah, Tiffany's reaffirmed me. See, I've got my Lorne Lore right. Like, yeah, that's the night before he then called about the drink driving to his mum.
Oh, okay.
Lorne Lore, I like that. I'm going to rename the stream.
But maybe that water thing made more sense in his lie. Didn't seem quite so random now, because I heard that call without knowing he was working for a water distribution company. So when he says, I took a case of water, I'm like, what the fuck? Who takes a case? Like, right, guys, I brought the party with me. I got the
well, if he worked for
got the fucking Evian.
if he worked for like a, I don't know, a feminine hygiene company, he'd bring over a gross of tampons too. I mean, whatever it is.
Me and Roy partied with the tampons. We put them in our butts.
For his mother. He'd bring them over to his mother.
Wow.
God. This kind of do we want to talk about his current situation at all? I mean, I know we got limited time here.
Yeah, I think we can touch upon it a little bit, can't we?
I wanted to ask you, Shin, like, because I have been a bit out of the loop with the whole prison stuff. Then, so he's been in prison for how long now?
Since August 7th, I believe. Tiffany would know better. I think it's August 7th. He was denied on the 22nd release, and they continued his original revocation hearing that was originally scheduled for the 3rd of September, next Tuesday, and they finally set a date, October 1st, and he's expecting to get jail time out of that. And I think it's a little more serious than he thinks it is, just based on some of the stuff that I was going over today and reading.
So how long is the sentence?
Well, they under the statute, the revocation statute, and by the way, I initially thought he had a suspended sentence hanging over his head. He didn't. So what they do is they determine his punishment under a certain statute. They actually cited it in the revocation documents that correlate with the class felony of his underlying case, and I think he's a class B. So the max you can get out of I think the selections are for a class D is 1 year, C is 1 year, B is 3 years, and A is 5 years. He's in class B, so he would be looking at 3 years max, and that's what the probation is looking for. What he'll do is anybody's guess, and like I said, I would think that he'd make an agreement, or his attorney would make an agreement with probation, and save the court some time. But if he goes to a hearing, I think he's going to get the whole thing. Mainly because it tells you that the prosecution is pretty motivated. And since they settle 95% of these cases, they want this guy.
So what's his exact parole violation? It's drinking.
Well, that's what I wanted to talk about. I think it's more, the drinking has been going on for years. And I think that, and they've tolerated to a certain point. They put him at a zero tolerance. They've modified his new conditions. But to me, the sequence of events kind of gives us a bigger hint of what's going on here. There were two significant things that happened. Number one, he failed a polygraph, and number two, he was thrown out. And again, he's failed polygraphs in the past before. And again, according to him, it's all based on alcohol use. And that's why he did it. But in this case, he fails a polygraph, and on the tail end of that, he's immediately suspended from rape class. So it tells you that I believe there's a correlation.
Oh.
How did you get on in rape class, Adam?
He's got a PhD.
I passed top of the rape class.
No, you didn't. I did.
Well,
and I'm looking at, for instance, one of the assignments he got, and it's in the dump, and it's called Sex Offender Therapy Program, Section A. It's an assignment where they tell you to answer 3 of 6 questions, and the questions you could tell right away. You know what his answer is going to be, and this will give you a good idea of how frustrated they must be with him in that class. First one is, what was your sexually abusive behavior that resulted in you being referred here? Can you imagine what his response to that would be? From the very